We have a quorum.
Residential area. See, it looks just like the houses. You would never know.
What town?
This is a residential.
I mean,
I was
Howard
in
is doing
charge of
some
a
new ones.
about 75 million gallon per day plant.
Go.
You're all set.
The
You're good to
oversight
go.
committee.
Okay. Christine. So I'd like to open the April 21st, 2022
That's the
meeting of the Land Disposition Committee, Town of Yarmouth Land Disposition Committee. It's now 1:40. And this afternoon, we have three parcels that we're going to be looking at. First one for potential disposition or possible hold is 520 Buck Island Road. It's parcel 45.89. And I think we have a
It's this guy right here. You can see the satellite view. In your packet for the comments from the staff, we had fire department has an interest in maintaining it for a fire training facility, and the board of selectmen have actually discussed that. So that's definitely a compelling reason to retain. And then also the housing trust expressed some interest in it as
for
well.
that one, I didn't think the highway wanted to continue to use it for their.
Correct.
Yeah, that dump stuff. That's what you see. On
wood
the-
chips.
On the bottom, there's wood chips and they go up and
Yeah.
there's sand and everything else in there. But
Because the
It-
fire department, it was an old report when I read it, because the fire department has already got permission to put that burn building,
Right.
if they can ever get the thing.
Right.
Well, the problem is that it's back ordered.
Yeah.
With the county, I guess, is paying for part of that.
and where will that go? Up in that little triangular piece? north of
In
the-
back of
In the
the
back,
fire station.
yeah.
in that little triangular green?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
right, yep,
back
yep,
in
yep,
there.
yep. Right next to Victor
What is that?
Salamini's. Remember that?
Yeah.
Crazy. Um,
He had a number of fingerprints around the town, didn't he?
Along with Bob, oh, what was his?
It's nice to see it's cleaned up a little bit up there.
It's another guy. He used to have all over the place. How you buy houses and then he'd stuff them. This Bob.
That's right.
Oh, remember Parker's, he had a house on the
So
river.
Parker's
Yes.
River, that was
Oh, yeah.
the
Oh,
real
yeah.
winner.
Pockanocket?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Mr.
Anyway.
Chairman, I think because of, if I may, because of the wide amounts of interest that this parcel has from various departments, I think it's best that we recommend that the community retain ownership of this parcel. I
Agreed.
make that a motion.
Okay, do we have a second? A second? All in favor? Aye. Unanimous.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Who gets to use it.
Yep.
Well, that's
Not
certain,
our job.
and Jim, that's certainly our role,
Right,
you
No,
know,
right, yeah.
no, we think you should keep it.
But it was looked at, so the
Yes.
block is
Yep.
checked off.
exactly.
Terrific.
The second parcel is
Oh, yeah.
0 Summer Street. It's
Hmm.
parcel 93.24.
So, I'll pull up
And
the evaluation packet first. So in your packet, you saw Kathy Williams provided some excellent history on the parcel. That it was first taken or first given to the town for, I think it was said for,
18, is that-
yeah, a long time ago. I couldn't read it on the
I thought it
deed.
was pretty cool.
For the
Yeah,
purpose of
yeah,
repairing
yeah.
and mending road and public
Yeah.
highways of the town. And it was used as basically a clay pit back in the day.
Hmm.
So in terms of current town services, we did get a comment from DPW to recommend retaining it for Zone 2 drinking water protection. It was noted that it's near a large amount of conservation land, although the conservation administrator didn't have a specific comment about the parcel. But other than that,
Wasn't there something in there, Carl, where at one time people were thinking of swapping land
correct.
on Easy Street? I
Yeah.
didn't really.
So yeah, if you go to the, if you look at the map, the Easy
Yeah,
Street,
that's what I'm
That's not an even spot though.
the Easy,
Oh, no, no, no.
the
I
Easy
don't know what
Street-
they were doing with it.
the Easy Street subdivision, when it went in, had interest in acquiring this additional
Oh, I
piece of
see.
parcel. It has since been built up and doesn't look like they need the parcel anymore, but they at one
Yeah.
point had an interest in
Yeah.
acquiring it. That's why Kathy had the history that she did, because when they did express interest, she looked into the history of it and everything. So there's the parcel right there. You can see the
So
parcel
if I can
lines.
Ask a couple of quick questions, because I gotta admit, I didn't get to this one. What is now at the end of Easy Street? You said it's developed now.
Yes, a subdivision here. So this
Houses?
is Easy Street. Yep.
Really?
It's houses?
I don't know
I thought it was
exactly
a
what it is. It's a
commercial there.
subdivision.
I thought
That's
it was
all I
Yeah.
know.
I thought it was.
It's
commercial.
probably commercial. I don't know, to be honest.
Is that
Yeah.
Max Tufts?
That's Dr.
He
Tufts'
abutted that, didn't he, Jim?
Yes.
Well,
And then they owned, but wasn't there something else on that? That he wanted to swap land at one point. Maybe he was the one. I remember talking to him.
Easy Street is Dr. Tufts' property, together with the town of Yarmouth property was gonna be the alternate site for the Instar location.
Yes, that's right.
And if you drive by, there's a lot of construction going on there right now.
Oh,
Looking into the,
Easy
Yep, yep.
Street is built and
I
the
missed that.
Yarmouth piece is not big enough for
No.
the N-Star. However, if I do find a property that doesn't have a conservation restriction on it, we may need it as a corridor to connect to the overhead lines. So,
Oh.
see, the Wiggins
Wow.
properties are south of there, but he's not answering me.
Can you flip back to the? There you go.
Yeah.
So,
it's that rectangular piece, Jim.
right, so the green is conservation land, is that what you're telling me? Up above?
Yes,
That's all, okay, Dennis Pond
it's
Conservation. There we go.
conservation, I think the thing is conservation to the right too. I think on the right side of
Oh, yeah.
Summer Street, is conservation.
Oh, in
too.
between Old Hyannis and
Oh,
that parcel?
This probably is,
I
yeah.
think that property is too, but I'd like to hang on to it, and the town didn't, after you were administrator,
Hmm.
it wasn't considered a priority to buy the Tufts property, and that was the only property that didn't have a conservation restriction on it. And
Hmm.
Dr. Tufts couldn't wait any longer and he sold it.
Yeah.
But I would still like to hang on to it
Hmm.
in case we need a corridor to connect the generator to the overhead lines. The overhead lines go right
It's in
to the.
zone
I'm
two.
losing you. I don't see.
Yeah, I don't know how we would get that
East
connection.
and west, you'd never make that connection. To
Right
me,
here,
to
see?
me, it's a value to market, I mean. If there's a prime location for commercial, if you, in development, it's this geographic area because of the on-off ability of the highway. It's, you're not likely to put housing there, because there's no support facilities for housing.
What's the water department saying, that
Just
they
one
wanted to
more.
retain it, they wanted zoned, they say it's. a
I think it's in
two?
zone 2, so I think that's kind of just their default. If it's in zone 2, they'd recommend retaining it.
That's exactly, everyone that says, they
Oh,
say,
yeah.
keep it, you
Yeah,
know,
Water is our most
Is there-
precious commodity.
we don't know if anybody's physically interested in this right now, right?
No, we do
There's
not.
no purchase inquiry.
Nope, just like I said, previously,
You don't have
the
to do
Easy
that.
Street subdivision had an interest, but no longer. Or likely no longer. We haven't re-engaged.
I'm gonna find a piece of property that kills me.
I'm of the belief we should
Yeah.
liquidate it. I don't see it attaching to anything that's, it's surrounded by development. It's a developable site.
And the other departments didn't seem to have much interest in it.
That's
did
correct.
It's
Correct.
kind of, that's,
That's what I mean,
yeah, it's like kind of industrialized area, but, there's.
Jim, I tend to agree with you in that
Mm.
it's kind of an island. It
Oh, there
doesn't,
you go.
it doesn't connect with that N-Star project, as there would have to be in some sort of easement.
It's right,
And would the
That-
N-Star
that
come in
piece-
off of Willow Street?
yeah,
Let me show the,
if you
Google
look at
Maps
their
showing it.
map,
You want the,
Yeah.
this is the N-Star right away. It connects directly with the N-Star. This is the N-Star right away.
Yeah, and this is the piece we're talking about, right here, the square.
Right.
Not this,
Right.
it connects to nothing,
Do we own this?
no.
Now, this is
Map.
Dr. Tufts.
Oh,
So see, it's
Oh.
not connect. N-Star is gonna come in here, they will never come down here to do that. That piece is just of no value to them either. It's a value to
developer.
a developer who wants to put some kind of,
Hmm.
and if we legalize the cultivation of marijuana, it's a place that somebody would wanna put a little marijuana.
I don't know if it's in the
Up-
zone for it, but yeah.
Well, you
Up
change
Up
all
on
your
White
zoning, I
Rock
think.
Road, they bought a
Right.
piece of property. It was 10 acres.
Mhm.
6 acres were on White Rock Road, and then they were gonna run the wires over Little Greeno Pond.
Right.
so they can run the wires over if they had to.
Why wouldn't,
I just don't see why they would.
I would think they'd buy Tufts property. And
Well,
there's,
I've only been working on this for 14 years.
Oh, I know.
14
I know.
years,
but they're not willing to sell to us.
not for the generator, it's not big enough for the generator, but you know, if we needed a corridor,
This.
see, these are the Wiggins properties.
Right.
And if somehow we could run it up and
Ooh.
over,
Wow,
connect, I don't know if they would go for that or not, but
boy, that's
I
that's
can-
even longer.
Yeah.
it's all industrial property in there.
Expensive easement is what it would be.
Or the other way, we own over here, would be to run it along here and then right along Willow Street.
So what you're pointing to is south of that.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
something.
Okay, so these are all those lots that abut the mid cape that have.
He
no
hasn't paid
frontage.
his taxes on these properties. I'm after these.
They're all
properties.
land.
But right, yeah, all those crazy ones that the mid-cape split
Right.
and then that owners are known, but we know,
We do.
Jay, who? Oh,
Yeah, it's like this.
who owns everything else? Yeah, yeah.
On this, then you get into this. then you get into that.
Correct.
All the W is the Wiggins.
Oh, yeah,
properties.
yeah, yeah.
So these are all, this one, that one. And the town owns some of the others.
We'd already taken them.
Hmm?
We'd already
No,
taken them or we bought them.
No, he just hasn't paid the.
No, but I mean this.
Oh, yeah,
We,
the town
Somehow
owns,
bought them.
town owns some,
I
and
can't remember.
two
what
or
we
three
bought.
or four. And,
Hmm,
Boy Scout owns this, County Yarmouth
And
owns
that's when
this,
you get
and
down by West Yarmouth Road, down there.
This is, yeah, this is north of Route 6, south of the Boy Scout property.
Right.
He's 85 years old now, so if he doesn't
You trying to
answer
wait
me,
him out?
if he doesn't answer me, maybe Doc will.
oh my God.
I understand what
Well,
you're trying to do. I just don't see the
yeah.
value in it. And to
Mm.
me personally, I would think that the highest and best for us to recommend is
Hmm,
to liquidate it.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, we can,
We can
if,
see, and
if we can find a property to link up with NSTAR, then we
Would
can
be
sell
better.
it. Yeah, is the way I look at it.
hmm, but
but see, wouldn't they use like Enterprise Road and some of those to put their, and we go right down the roadways and then connect to, they wouldn't go through and buy a lot to do it. They use the roadway easements.
I'm trying to be,
you were trying to swap it. Right, because they paid big money for,
yeah,
There's
it may
no
not,
offer.
it may not be an even swap, but it would be a
No,
swap, you
mm.
know, because the property on White Rock Road is conservation-like
Mm.
property, you know, with a walking trail through the middle of it.
hmm,
All right, I'm hearing lots of differing opinions
Well,
here.
Yeah,
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'm more inclined-
I'll make a motion to recommend
Uh,
liquidation.
Well, because I think even if we do that, we'll have to see who bids it.
And we also have the right of refusal. You don't have
That's
to
right.
accept
That's
the
correct.
offer that
Yeah.
gets bid on it.
I'll second it.
Okay,
You know, and
For that.
if it comes that somebody wants it for bad enough, they'll pay the right price.
right. Okay,
The way it works.
um,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, all in favor?
Do we have a second on the motion?
We do, it's
You did.
Bob.
no,
Okay, so we have 3-1.
Okay.
Thank you. And the last piece of property today is
Hmm,
58 Matachee Road, parcel 33.202. And Kyle will get that. Should have hesitated a minute. Kyle, I'm sorry.
No worries. Pull up the comments first. So we've actually had two different members of the public express an interest in this parcel. So both parties want to put some sort of structure on that. I'm not sure if it's buildable, but that's really not our problem.
Right.
It's it's kind of a buyer beware situation.
it's in the flood zone.
It's in a flood zone. The DPW didn't express any sort of interest or concern with disposing of the parcel. Again, conservation just reiterated that it's in a flood zone. So they have to file with the Conservation Commission in order to develop the site. Affordable Housing
Right.
Trust did have a comment that they sent the parcel to, it was the
Veterans Outreach.
Cape and Islands Veterans
Yeah,
Outreach, and they're they're taking a look at it. They want to do a feasibility study of the lot.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a 1/4 acre lot, so I'm not sure how suitable it is for that kind of development, but
I think-
Uh,
So the recommendation from the trust was to, can we delay it? If the veterans housing says, no, I don't think, I know Habitat isn't interested in doing any of that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So
it's up for
we
you,
could
up to
delay
you
it.
guys.
Can you put the aerial?
You just want to postpone this vote?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of selling it if they don't want it.
So if you can scroll that aerial out. can you-
58, okay.
Where's the end of the, okay. Thank you. So at the end of the road is a park, or it's an open space. If you aerial it, you'd see that right down there by the word Google. And I will tell you that I lived about where, well, it was 100 years ago, just south of the word Crow Street. Where I was young and
Oh, yeah.
foolish. Now I'm just foolish. To the right of that, the water table in there is pretty high.
Is it? Yeah, yeah.
There's no question.
So as far as, I mean,
Hmm.
we can postpone, but I'm pretty sure that they're gonna come back and say,
That's,
well, the other thing is, it's in a flood zone,
Yep, yep.
and
Yeah.
I will tell you that they're gonna have to raise it up above the flood zone, as we
Right.
know.
Yeah, right.
So they have to build a stilt house, and it doesn't mean they couldn't. But a 1/4 acre, what they're gonna perk, I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, that's, to be honest, that's kind of where I know, I'm, not a member of the board, but that's kind of the perspective I thought of on this. It's like, yeah, we can delay it, but I think we're just delaying it for delaying its sake. I can't imagine that on a flood zone, small parcel like that you're gonna get.
Did
some
we
sort
already
of
say,
development.
and I didn't ask at the last trust meeting, how long it was gonna take for them to do this? little
Yeah, I don't
review?
think she had a
Oh.
exact timeline in mind. I think it's gonna end up being kind of open-ended.
Well, we were gonna gift it, so they built veterans, so that's been a priority of the select. board
Right.
to do that.
And we can
This
certainly,
came- We'd like to do something on Western Road, which is much easier. We have legal.
and we can certainly postpone it and see if we can get some clarity on an exact date from the Veterans Outreach.
I don't see a reason to postpone it in that all we're doing is making a recommendation to the selectmen to
Correct.
consider it.
Could
So
could we do it, agree to sell subject to the review and let them figure it out?
You
We've
could.
done our part.
You could.
So
You know,
maybe I'll make that, agree to dispose of the property, subject to the report from the Veterans Outreach. And that way we're done,
Yeah, and if they say they don't want it, then
then.
Yeah.
Then, then it isn't delayed.
Christine, you okay with that? Is that your motion? We have a
My
second?
motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You'd think we could find some properties, It's funny, I have these conversations like 4 or 5 times a year. The Yarmouth Housing Authority has not created a single unit of housing in this town since the 60s.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
That is
Oh,
correct.
yeah. Oh, awful.
Long Pond Drive,
Awful.
last
Period.
time,
Yeah.
Period. End of story. Yep.
yes. So
I hear you.
this is what I think Suzanne McCall unelected was, we
Uh-huh.
encouraged them to look at developing the site next to the senior center.
Correct.
Well, if they're not gonna develop that, is there another piece of property that we can talk about that we can maybe swap? That we can get them off the dime just like, housing is the most critical issue in this town,
No question.
tied up with
Fine.
equal to or maybe more than wastewater. If we don't address those two situations in this town, we're screwed. So maybe we can
Agreed.
help them get off the dime by saying, look, you don't want to develop this property because of the pushback you got from Captain's Village? Well, maybe we can do a land swap. They were given it by the town to begin with.
Correct.
So it's not like we're asking them to give up something that they didn't know.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
But-
Oh, yeah, that was a town meeting, and then they didn't do anything, and we tried to take it back at
Yeah.
one point, and the world was coming to an end, and.
And then they say, we'll develop it,
Well,
we'll develop it. And then
that went.
Take it by eminent domain.
that's how,
Well,
that's how Norm Holcomb got elected.
yes, you
Yeah.
can.
He got the
I
whole
mean,
Captain's Village
it's
up in
still-
arms
but you
about
can.
it.
Need is housing.
Mhm.
But in the meantime,
Yeah,
here we are
we'd
with,
have to pay.
Yeah.
they're sitting there with an empty piece of land that then they don't have,
20
I don't, in my personal opinion, nothing to do with them any individually. They don't have the intestinal fortitude to try to develop it.
20 years later.
And maybe we can have a meeting with them about some of these other parcels that we say,
Do we have a big enough?
can you
piece area?
develop that?
Well,
I
that's
know
it.
they've
Well, I don't
talked
know.
about it. We, when I was here, we talked about it a lot, but didn't have the parcel.
You know, I
don't know.
wonder if the appetite has changed because
Yeah.
certainly it's a different day.
Yes.
And there's been so
Yeah,
much in the
yeah.
press for so many years that perhaps if,
Hmm.
a resubmission wouldn't make some sense because it is,
If they would do
Well,
it.
didn't the big objection come when they increased the number of units? Wasn't it like 40 units originally,
Well,
and they increased it up
They
to 100
increased it
units?
because the state said, and then they wanted to restrict it and the state wouldn't pay if it was just gonna be senior housing. There was all sorts of nonsense. And then they just cold feet dropped it for 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Um,
in my opinion,
hmm,
that piece of property is attractive because it's much
Oh.
closer to services. It's
absolutely.
next door to the senior center. You know, it makes a lot of sense. And it makes a lot more sense than West Great Western because that's out in the middle of nowhere in a way,
Right, oh, yeah,
you know?
right, but
But maybe
That's
the
all we
answer is, oh, we're hearing all this discussion about maybe a possible central library. Maybe that's your site for your central library and swap another piece of land somewhere else
well,
and have them build housing somewhere.
you remember when that was going to be town center.
Yep.
Yep.
In there,
Yeah.
that was defeated because we won't, no.
I mean,
Um,
we've got all this land
Yeah.
and,
we
and
should use it.
some of it makes certain sense to hold on to for certain,
Mhm, mhm.
but others might be, negotiating chips for
You know, I
trying to
recall
encourage other things we want to see happen in town.
very clearly, I recall back in the 90s when I was on the Open Space Committee, we said, we're not buying this property for today. We're buying it for future generations. And
Absolutely.
I really believe we need to keep that top of mind.
I mean, I think our conservation efforts over the last 30 years has been stellar. I
Absolutely.
mean,
What other town has done as much?
That's right.
and I
In my
admit, I
view.
stood up and spoke against a lot of the stuff that we bought. I don't still to this day understand why we bought marshland, but we did. And I'm okay with it because it's part of the character of our town, but there are some pieces like what we're doing now.
Yep.
But maybe there's a use that we can, with the public-private, hey,
Mhm,
listen,
mhm.
if we can give the Cavalier $2 million to build housing, I can't imagine we can't find a piece of land that we can swap as a development incentive
That'd be
or
true.
something like that.
Mhm.
Very true.
Well,
Good. All right.
until these various projects come to fruition, then we don't know what's left over.
And there's so much in the fire right now.
Yeah, it's
Now,
true.
the Old Townhouse Road isn't that big, the one in back of,
Right, the 12 acres off of,
right, yeah, in back of Xfinity. There was a Davenport at one point was gonna build the road.
that's the
You
one,
remember?
that's the
then
one that
Kelly-
happened when I was a selectman. And
Yeah.
when conservation wanted to make a conservation,
Oh, yeah.
and we said, wait a minute, let
Yeah.
housing look at it.
Mhm.
Had an agreement between conservation and the chairs of conservation and housing to
Oh.
build 6 houses
Oh,
and have 6 acres of conservation. The chair of housing went back to the housing and they said, oh, no, we want it all. And that got the ire of the neighborhood who
think I
then said,
remember that.
oh, no, you ain't coming through our neighborhood. So if you're gonna do this, you're gonna have to build Old Town House Road out. And that was gonna cost millions of dollars to
Oh, yeah.
build it, so it wasn't financially feasible to.
Good point.
And that's
Yeah.
where it sits. We looked at it a
Thanks.
couple months ago.
So
That's
instead of
increased.
6, they got 0.
Instead of 6, they got
Yeah,
0.
right, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, even around the senior center, that's across the street from the wells. I was wondering, how close is it? Is it more than 1,000 feet from the wells
don't
across
know.
the street? That would be a good thing to
But
look.
see, that might be one of those things that, hey, that's valuable to us to protect our wells. You want housing, that lot over there ain't valuable to.
Right,
I'm just
right, right.
pointing in any
Yeah, yeah.
direction.
I know what you mean.
All right. Well, I think this is good discussion for sure. Move along to review of our past meeting minutes.
I don't know if I have
There you
a
go.
copy of them somewhere, but they were in your packet. I don't know if you guys got a chance to take a
I'll
look
make a
at it.
motion to accept the minutes of April 13, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of January 11, 2022.
All in favor?
Second.
Second, sorry. Excuse me.
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Thank you.
Make a
Thank you.
motion to adjourn.
Oh, we have one more thing.
Uh,
Mill Lane's back on our,
Look, upcoming meeting.
You guys haven't looked at that one yet.
Mill Lane.
didn't we look at something over there?
I don't think so,
I don't
unless
think
Oh,
I'm
so.
mistaken.
Were the 2 neighbors both wanted
That was Mill Pond. I think.
Mill Pond?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
215 Mill Lane might be that parcel that we were just talking about, near the library. I have to double check on that.
So on the incoming, maybe that is a topic for discussion for the housing authority property versus something else that we could look at if we look at a map. Yeah.
Sure.
Mill Lane would be the parking lot.
Yeah, so Mill Lane is the parcel that we were just talking about in between the library and Route
I say
28.
gift it to the council.
And then we also have
That's what it's
378,
used for.
Oh, yeah.
378 Route 28, which is the parcel next to Loveland Insurance across
yeah.
the street from West Yarmouth
Yeah.
Library. It's just,
Oh, that's such a pretty parcel.
Really?
Well, Love Life does a great job with those flowers.
Oh,
roses
oh,
along.
yeah.
I
They
mean,
have for 20, 30 years. Those roses are
Easily, yeah.
beautiful.
I see 4 houses on that for affordable housing, like up on Yarmouth Court, where the small
Yeah.
houses.
I didn't think we looked at it. I didn't think we could build on it. There was some issue.
That's the one directly across from Wimbledon. If you came out of Wimbledon.
That's
yeah,
correct.
you almost right.
Yep.
So-
Isn't there a road right there too? It's a dirt road or
oh,
something?
behind on the backside
No,
of the
from-
road.
Coming from Lovelet heading to Hyannis.
Between us
Lovelet,
girls, right?
then there's a lot. And I think there's a little dirt road or something right there.
Well, we'll look at it
So-
next
Well,
meeting.
As the chairman said, it's a new day.
Yeah, and I
So
don't- if you
maybe-
don't want it to be housing, you could dispose of it through an RFP and say, we want it to only be an office building that doesn't use a lot of water, because it's gonna get hooked up to the sewer. and-
It's park-like, if you.
Or if you want to
If you
keep it
don't
for
have
a
a-
park like,
Yeah,
that's for you guys to decide.
And I think we'd be criticized because it's the Yankee Village and all that area has been partially developed, but not
Oh, yeah,
much has
yeah.
happened to it. So we did more of that. I
Hmm.
don't know. And it's hard for me as a conservation guy to say that, but
Right, yeah.
I think I'm trying to be real.
I'd rather him put the pump house there and take the Route 28,
corner.
Share Lenore and help them develop that whole corner. Cause I think
Hmm.
Saragen's property's been for sale or has sold.
It
I'm
had,
not sure. I
I don't know if it's sold.
Not sure.
don't know,
Yeah,
but
right, because he.
that
did
gives
have-
the ability to
Mm,
develop that
mm.
whole corner. And if they could move the pump house down there, then that would work too. I don't know. I'm not an engineer who knows that
No.
stuff.
Well, aren't they gonna pump from the Parkers River west to Hyannis and then pump from the Parkers River east
Right,
to our
okay.
facility?
Yeah.
So you're
Well,
gonna
yeah.
need something at Parkers River.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not talking about that one.
Oh.
That pump station, that pretty much guarantees, they wanted to put a pump station at West Yarmouth Road.
Yep.
So my suggestion is
Oh, that corner.
put the
Yep.
pump station next to Lovelet and make that available to
Mhm.
develop a larger parcel. Now you can put
Hmm,
know,
hmm.
top of the shop, corner retail apartments on the second floor. Keeping in mind, that once we start getting sewering in this town,
Oh.
you're not gonna be restricted to build a 2-bedroom house. You
right.
can build a 5-bedroom house because the only thing that's gonna keep you is your setbacks, side yard,
Yep.
front back. But other than that, and heights. et
Well,
cetera.
you'll need to get permission from the sewer commissioners. You can't just add on.
No.
No,
still.
but trust me, once they
Within
figure out that, gee, you know what, if we can charge you for 4 bedrooms instead of 2, then think of how much more money we can make. Yeah, you can do that.
Well, on Bass River, I can tell you that there was a gorgeous antique half cave. This was replaced with a 9-bedroom home. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
and there's another one.
coming up, yeah.
I cry going down the river these days. It just doesn't.
So
look
do I.
like-
So do I.
It doesn't look like the river we
No.
grew up on. And on both sides of the river.
Yeah, yeah.
Dennis is worse in a way. All
Yeah. Used to go scholar, huh?
That's right.
No more.
right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Do we have a meeting day for the next meeting?
Oh,
Sorry.
What do we do?
The answer to that would be no.
Do you want to try to do another Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday's great for me because
You could.
I can do this with conservation at night and my whole afternoon is booked.
We do Thursday, the 19th, which is like a month from now.
That's the day I
that's-
have my cataract.
Okay, so we won't do that.
Jeez,
Don't get
no,
old.
don't. No, I had one.
I figure I gotta get old. I don't have to grow up though.
We could do the 12th or the 26th, up to you guys.
12th would be better. No?
What time? We've got a managers meeting from 1 to 2.
Up to you guys, what time?
Want to make it morning?
If it pleases the court.
11 o'clock?
I could do that.
What is this,
Do we-
May 12th at 11?
Is that good for everybody? Yeah.
I might be a few minutes late, but I can certainly do that.
Yeah, that would work because I'd be out of here.
Or we could do, I can't remember what
It shouldn't
Susan,
take us a long meeting.
what
anyway.
Susan's
Yeah, right,
schedule
right,
is.
right.
It's 2 properties. We can, I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
Mhm.
it shouldn't be. that.
we all have a chance to get out and see
Yeah,
them.
and what do you want, 11 a.m.?
May 12th, 11 a.m.
11 and the 12th?
11 on 12.
I beg your pardon.
All
Thank
right.
you, everyone.
Outstanding.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Motion
adjourn, second. Christine, second. All in favor?
Excellent.
All right, thank you. Thanks very